This podcast is an RPPFM production.
The following episode contains some coarse language and descriptions of graphic violence. Listener discretion is advised. Welcome back, everyone, to I Think My Fridge is Haunted.
Hi, I'm Gemma.
I'm Esther.
Welcome back.
Hi, Joe. How's your week going?
It's going really well. So this week we launched the podcast.
Yes. Oh my
officially.
God, everyone. Thank you so much for actually listening to it. We had some listeners from England, a lot from the peninsula, a lot of performers listened to it.
Yeah, a lot of our friends their friends.
Yep. A lot of drag queens, a lot of burlesque artists.
Oh.
Yeah, it's very exciting.
Yeah.
And we're on iTunes. I
we're
felt
on iTunes.
famous next to my heroes.
I just felt so professional
Same.
when we saw our logo on Spotify for that first time.
I know.
And I was like, we've made it.
I'm like, people are going to start recognizing us, our voices in the street. They're like, what is that really tangy bogan
How
accent?
do I recognize that annoying voice?
I think I've heard that one before. Ugh. Well, thanks, guys. Big shout out to everyone.
We got any housekeeping?
Yes. Okay. Housekeeping. Last week I mispronounced a certain dessert called the Cockenbush. It actually it's Crockenbush, and I'm not going to say the French pronunciation because I'll sound like a dickhead.
Was it croquembouche?
It's like no.
I've never heard it pronounced.
No,
so I don't know.
Well, I've heard it pronounced, but I can't.
I've seen the word online.
Oh,
Because I looked up what is a
yeah.
crockenbush.
I typed in cock in bush and and I got a few results that I wasn't prepared for. But it translates to, which I just love, crusty in the mouth.
Oh, I thought it was crunchy in the mouth.
It could be crunchy in the... I like crusty in the mouth.
Gross. Oh, gross.
So bad. But it looks delicious, but
It looks
if I
really
said...
good. And it wasn't what I thought it was. It was like... I thought it was profiteroles with the chocolate, but it was like little glazed, almost like donut cakes.
Well, that's, I think, how I explained it. I was like, it's just like some deep fried balls in a tower with like honey drizzled over it.
Yeah, or like that spun sugar. It was very posh.
Very posh, but yeah, the Crockenbush, crusty in the mouth. I would love to order that at a restaurant. Excuse me, waiter, I would like the Cockenbush, the crusty thing in my mouth, please. Yeah, well that's it, guys. It's not how I described it.
All right. Well, if we ever get big enough that we have to have some sort of a celebration,
A bake sale.
like 100 listens, let's have
100
Crockenbush.
Crockenbushes.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Of the finest quality,
Of the finest balls.
of the finest crunch
crust.
crust.
Do you have housekeeping?
I do. I had some feedback from the
Ooh.
3.5 episodes that we launched.
The 3 listeners. Hi, Mum.
Yeah. Cassie says, oh, this was an interesting one. She says that the story of Alison Botha was actually an urban legend when she was growing up in Cape Town.
Wow.
But in the legend that she heard, she didn't actually know the name of the woman. It was just kind of like the woman that got her throat slit and had to hold her head up. And in her version, Alison drove herself to the hospital.
Yeah, right.
So I thought that was really interesting. Also, Sarah from the UK wants us to talk about black-eyed children and skinwalkers.
Yes.
Because they are, quote, freaky as hell. Cheers, dude.
They are on the list.
Are they?
Skinwalker, yeah, the Skinwalker Ranch. That's on our list.
I've got Stardust Ranch on mine. That's my absolute favourite.
Okay, you do Stardust,
You
I'll do
should do
Skinwalker.
Skinwalker.
All right.
And Jess says, we talk a lot of crap.
Oh, great.
Thanks, sis.
Oh, that's your sister?
Yeah.
Well, my sister Bella said that she listens to it as she falls asleep and it gives her like weird messed up dreams because it's my voice sending her to sleep and we both sound identical.
Actually, it's interesting you say that because my sister's boyfriend was listening to it in the car and he said, I can't listen to it because you sound so much like your sister.
Yeah.
That's really weird.
Yeah, we've got twin esophaguses.
Yeah.
Well, thanks everyone for listening. It's a massive compliment. I hate my voice. So
that's 3 people right there that gave us feedback. 3 whole people. That's
3
awesome.
whole people, not even a quarter person. A whole person. So that's a massive compliment. All right, are we going to do our facts from the freezer?
Facts from the freezer. Yes.
Let's get spooky.
Shall I go first?
Yes.
Okay. There are over 250 bodies on Mount Everest, making it the world's largest open-air graveyard.
Ooh, a big death hill.
Death Hill.
Death mountain.
Yep.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I already knew that fact. I'm sorry.
Oh, really?
I didn't know there was, 200 and something?
It is over 250.
Jeez,
I think it's hard
Louise.
to really know exact, but, they're just there. And
Yeah, because
sometimes
the
they're
people can't
used
bring
as
them down.
No, yeah, it's too dangerous.
They use them as markers and stuff,
They
don't
do.
they?
Exactly.
Yeah, you can Google the photos. But they're
I just find it so interesting.
yeah, it's nuts, isn't it?
Yeah.
Imagine the layers. Imagine if there's layers of
Bodies or clothes?
snow, but it's like a tree. It's like rings in the mountain, and within the rings there's bodies from all the years of people dying.
Like an onion.
Like an onion.
Bodies.
Yeah, like when you cut up an apple and you can see if there's been a worm inside the apple, and you cut half the worm. If you cut half the mountain
It's exactly
inside, you'd get little half bodies because there's layers. Do you know what I'm saying?
You been on that weed cake again?
Sorry, Mum. Thanks, Dad. He bakes it for me. Okay, my fact?
Yeah.
This one's a bit crazy. I don't actually know if I believe it, but I want to. Back in the 1960s, the skeletons in the Pirate of the Caribbean ride at Disneyland were real.
Sweet.
At the time, they thought that the fake skeletons didn't look scary enough, so they contacted the UCLA medical department and bought loads of skeletons that were usually used in anatomy classrooms. As time went on, fake skeletons started to look more convincing. Disney claims that they gave the real skeletons proper burials, but many speculate that there could be at least a couple of real ones left on the ride.
Wow.
Disney, you Nazi.
I don't trust Disney for a second to
Is
give
he
those
really
skeletons.
frozen?
Well, I reckon he probably could, but there's a conspiracy about that because if you Google Disney Frozen, you get the movie.
That's
and some people think that that's why
That's
the
a
movie
cover-up.
was made because it's kind of like deflecting you in a different location. So people are not so much thinking about him being frozen.
I think
wouldn't be surprised.
if he was defrosted, he'd probably be pretty disappointed with today's entertainment.
Yeah, I think if he was defrosted, I think he'd probably be pretty disappointed in the Me Too movement, among other things.
Oh, true.
Respect levels now.
Women with rights? I don't know if he was sexist, but I'm guessing he was.
I think he was all the things. Yeah.
No, I just think he'd be like, now let's see what Mickey's up to these days. And then there's so much Mickey Mouse porn on the internet.
Yeah. I just don't trust Disney. I don't. But I saw Maleficent over Halloween, actually.
Oh, was it good?
I loved it.
She's a beautiful lady.
So beautiful. And because I was trying to watch Halloween movies over Halloween, and I watched the movie Christine as well, the old Stephen King one, which was great. But yeah, I really like Maleficent. I kind of hated myself for it.
Oh no, I like that movie. I don't like any of the other Disney movies, but I like that one. Yeah.
Cool.
Anyway.
Well, that's a cool fact.
Yeah, guys. Disneyland's full of dead people. Book a tour now. Yeah. Yeah. But let's get on with some spooky ooky stories.
Let's get some spooky stories happening. So here's my story. It's not so much of a spooky, it's kind of got an eerie undertone, but I find that it's more of a kind of an interesting historical kind of thing.
I love your historical stories.
I love historical stuff. I really do.
Love
okay, let me start with a quote from Arthur Conan Doyle from his writing The Sign of Four. The day had been a dreary one, and a dense fog lay low upon the great city. Mud-coloured clouds hung over the muddy streets.
I like the use of the word mud twice.
Anyway, have you ever heard of the killer fog?
Oh, it just reminds me of Stephen King. The Mist.
Oh, the mist,
The
or
Mist?
there's the Mist and the Fog, the John Carpenter film. Yeah. Well, this
This is going to be so fun. I'm so excited.
cool.
I'm so excited. Okay, let's go.
So, also known as a black fog or a pea soup fog, these are characterized by a thick, dirty looking fog caused by air pollution, often containing soot and the poisonous gas sulfur dioxide.
Jeez. So it's kind of, is that like acid rain?
It's kind of like acid fog, to be honest. So London has often had these intense spells of thick fog for hundreds of years. And even as early as 1818, the term city fog was used to describe this nasty smog over the city. Later in the 19th century, the constant use of substandard or dirty coal was blamed for causing this fog, which damaged buildings, ruined clothes drying outside, and hindered the growth of plants due to the lack of sunlight. So they used to get these fogs that were just literally so thick that they just stopped life in the city. When even a tree or a plant can't get sunlight and it dies, it was literally killing the city.
That's so upsetting.
Yeah. Furthermore, a deadly increase of respiratory diseases such as bronchitis and pleurisy was becoming obvious among the London population. In 1834, Theodore Edward Hooke wrote, "On the occasion of which I am now to speak, there was anything but gaiety and mirth. It was a wretched morning. There fell a mizzling rain through the pea soup atmosphere of London, which chilled every living thing, while a sort of smoky, misty, foggy vapour hovering over the ground made darkness only visible."
Damn.
It's full on, isn't
Our
it?
poor environment.
I know. And
Like the earth has been dealing with this shit for hundreds of years. So upsetting.
Yeah.
Sorry, Earth.
Yeah. And, we see like these old movies of the London fog and that kind of thing. And we think it's kind of like a natural thing that happens. But I think if it's in these big industrial cities, there's so much more in the fog than just a mist. This is not a white, thick mist. This is a yellow, brown,
nuts.
thick, nasty material.
Yep. So bad for you.
And I love the use of the word mizzling rain.
I like pea soup. That's just the grossest description to me.
But it is like, you can imagine it, can't you? Like
Just
that
like
kind of
this-
vomit-coloured
it's
fog.
feral. Just horrendous. Okay, gross.
In 1852, from a passage of Bleak House by Charles Dickens, and I love this because the character's name is Esther.
Oh, girl, here we go. Shout out to me.
She arrives in London, and I'm seeing you in this fabulous
In this
Victorian
ravishing dress.
Oh, I thought you were. I'm kind of envisioning you as kind of like more of a,
Like a sex
not
worker.
a peasant, but kind of more like, "Hello, my lord. I'm here for the
I'm a pirate."
role."
Oh, yeah, no, I'm like, do you have some buttons? Do you have some oatmeal for an old girl? I need to feed me 5 cats. Jesus. Yeah. So that's a nice visual. That's me now, actually.
Oh, that's amazing. So the character Esther arrives in London and inquires as to whether there was a great fire anywhere, for the streets were so full of dense brown smoke.
Is there a great fire anywhere?
For the streets are so full of smoke.
Oh, wait, I just ripped my headphones out from enthusiasm.
The streets were so full of dense brown smoke that scarcely anything was to be seen. She is told, "Oh no, miss, this is a London particular."
Oh, sexy.
Which Esther has never heard of. "A fog, miss," says the young gentleman.
Are you flirting with me? Is fog code for something else?
No, it's just really friggin' foggy. But in 1952, the London particular turned into something more dangerous than ever. And from Friday the 5th of December to Tuesday the 9th of December, the population was held captive by its torturous grip.
Jeez Louise.
It had been extremely cold in early December, and also the air had been very, very still, so there was no wind whatsoever.
Yuck. It would just be like what I imagine, like breathing in everyone's breath for a week.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's
like, have you been to this?
Not far off.
No, have you been to the city on Boxing Day? It smells like a fart. Like the air it just smells of human stink.
What, because it's hot?
No, because everyone just like goes to I used to work in Pitt Street in Sydney. In Pitt Street, the Strand, the arcade, I can't remember what it's called. Fancy arcade.
Yeah.
And on Boxing Day, it stunk so much of human fart because so many people are in such a small space.
And they'd eaten so much.
No, it was a Boxing Day sale, so people were going crazy to buy stuff, and there was like hundreds of people, and the whole place stunk of like breath and fart.
And they'd eaten loads of roasted onions at their mum's house the day before.
The day after Christmas. So they're stinky, they're sweaty, it's hungover, angry because I need
pissed off.
Yeah, I'd imagine that would be what it would smell like in London back in the day.
I don't frequent the city on Boxing Day. I usually tend to stick to just my house or my parents' house and just kind of like drink loads of champagne. Yes. But that's an interesting observation, Miss Esther.
Legit. I cracked it because I worked on Boxing Day and I was so angry at people, and I was on the counter at JB Hi-Fi.
I'm just being still like, imagining you in like
it stinks
housemaid costume from Victorian times, cracking it. And what would you say in her accent? Victorian Esther.
Oh, Victorian Esther. What? If I worked at JB Hi-Fi back in that...
And it just stunk.
Close your buttholes. I don't know. I'd say something a bit more rude, but we're on a community radio station, so...
That's amazing. Okay, so 1952, we've got this awful, awful fog. It's horrid. It had been extremely cold in early December, and windless conditions had caused airborne pollution to collect over the city in a thick layer of smog. The type of coal available to regular people at this time was of quite low quality because higher grade coal was being kept separate for export. Anyway, it had been so cold this December, people were trying to keep their homes warm, but weather conditions created a perfect environment for a dangerous, poisonous fog to form.
I wish there were photos of this.
There are. There's loads.
What year is this from, though?
1952.
The 50s?
Yeah.
The 50s?
Were you not listening, girl?
I thought it was 1800s.
No. They had these pea soup fogs like intermittently throughout the ages, but the really big one was in 1952.
God, I'm way off. I'm thinking 200 years ago. All right.
So, the fog became trapped under a layer of warm air above the city caused by something called an anticyclone.
Wow.
Which causes wind to blow from areas of high pressure to areas of low pressure. Google tells me it's a weather system with high barometric pressure. Oh my God, I have to start again. A weather system with high barometric pressure at its center around which air slowly circulates. And anticyclones are associated with calm, fine weather. So it's literally like perfect conditions for this.
My IBS does the exact same thing.
Yeah.
Kind of circulates itself into like its own sort of cyclone.
Into a pea soup fog.
Yeah, when I'm real stressed or I've eaten like, what's my trigger food? Bread, cheese, everything good. Chocolate.
Bread and cheese.
Yeah, or like just high anxiety.
Do you get it when you have like things like onions and apples, like fructose?
I constantly have it.
Oh, really? So literally nothing.
Yeah, no, I just always
nothing
have
helps.
it. Yeah.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah.
Dude.
Turn it into a joke. Ha
All right. So let's just envision this pea soup fog as basically being Esther's bowels.
I have no shame. I don't care. Everyone knows.
Here are some figures of what was being emitted each day during the fog of 1952. 1,000 tons of smoke particles, 140 tons of hydrochloric acid, 14 tons of fluoride compounds, 370 tons of sulfur dioxide. In addition to the coal burning, we have pollution coming from industry as well. So we've got factories and transport, steam locomotives, diesel-fueled buses, and car exhaust fumes. So the people are just trapped in this awful, awful situation.
Yuck.
And we're talking about you looking out the window and all you can see is just fog.
I wonder if it stained buildings and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like they even said some of the stuff that I read, there was even kind of like a black sludge on like on the pavement, and people were like, you could sort of run your finger over a window and it would come off.
Jesus, imagine their lungs.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
people were dying.
Yeah, lung cancer.
One man said in the Guardian newspaper that he remembered trying to get home from football practice. He and his friend caught the train as usual, but it had to terminate early due to the fog. They had to walk from Hammersmith to Southall, which is 8 miles or 12 kilometres. They followed the trolley bus wires above,
wow,
which they could see reflected from the street lights. So luckily they had something to follow because they couldn't see what was in front of them. And he said, so slowly we trudged home, coughing and spluttering along the high road through Chiswick and Kew to Brentford Half-Acre. Having left Hammersmith at about 6 p.m, I arrived home in Southall at midnight, my face and hands covered in black soot.
Oh, the poor animals.
Mm-hmm. And I find this quite interesting, this next part. My father, a chimney sweep at the time, laughed at my appearance, for I looked as he used to after a day's work. But there was the rub, he says. He recognised that his family trade was on its last legs. Our family had been London sweeps since early Victorian times. He could see this smog, and the national reaction to burning smoky coal for heating was the death knell for his trade.
Well, I'm sorry, but good.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like the racing industry.
Yeah.
You're going to lose your job, but,
It's got to evolve to something else.
Yeah.
By 1957, he had stopped sweeping and took up a news agency.
Okay, that's healthier. I mean, yeah.
Well, yeah.
That's a good job.
Yeah. And he said, I experienced other smogs later in my early life in Birmingham and Glasgow, but none were as long-lasting and as debilitating as that 1952 December London fog.
Jesus.
Now, the burning of coal had been an issue in London for many centuries and was even banned in 1272 by King Edward I. The ban obviously didn't last because the issue came up again in the 17th century. A man named John Evelyn, who was an advisor to King Charles II, wrote a pamphlet. I'm a big fan of the 17th century pamphlet. If I was there now, I'd be writing pamphlets all the time.
Just do it now. It's 2019.
A podcast is kind of like a pamphlet.
For your ears. Yeah.
And his pamphlet was called... Okay, hang on.
Okay.
Fumifugium.
Jesus.
Or The Inconvenience of the Air.
Wow, that's
A-E-R.
Very emo.
And smoke of London dissipated.
I wouldn't read this.
So he published this in 1661 and claimed that coal killed many people, having a kind of virulent or arsenical vapour arising from it, which he was right.
Yeah, totally.
I mean, arsenic poison.
Yeah, for sure.
It's literally...
This guy's hit it on the head.
Yeah, and this is like 400 years ago. This guy could see what was going on. How frustrating for him. He made a suggestion to relocate industry out of the city and to plant huge gardens filled with odoriferous flowers to tinge the air and
bring in oxygen. Like, this guy has...
True.
He's from the future.
I know, he's ahead of his time. And the flowers would mask the smell of the fog, which, by the way, apparently smelled like rotten eggs.
Which is common in hauntings and demonic possession.
Exactly. It's the sulfur, isn't it?
Totally.
Because I think I said before that some kind of sulfur was sulfur dioxide, 370 tons of sulfur dioxide in this particular fog.
Wow. Have you ever smelled like sulfur?
No, I don't think so.
I've smelled it a few times at my work.
In what situation would you smell sulfur?
Like haunting. Like haunted, like ghosts and stuff.
I was thinking kind of like what? Like would I have to go to like a volcano or something?
Yeah, on the peninsula. No, but legit, it's like rotting eggs. I mean, I could have just been smelling rotting eggs in the walls or something.
Is there talk of a haunting at your work?
Oh, yeah. It's an old winery.
Oh, right. Okay.
People see two ghosts all the time.
Right.
An old lady and a man. But... yeah, there's one part of the area. I'm not going to name where I work.
Yeah.
But there's one particular area of the building that always smells like rotting eggs.
And is it somewhere that they would have worked, like a kitchen or like a stable or something like that?
Well, when the building was being built, one of the painters actually died. He fell off his ladder and died.
Oh, that's horrid.
So on this particular level of the building is where it smells.
Wow.
But he's like a really nice ghost. He's just like a average guy. So I don't know why it would be smelling like sulfur, because people usually associate that with
like isn't that
demons
more like
and stuff?
Demonic hauntings and infestations?
Yeah.
Interesting. And you don't have chickens around there?
No. I wish we did. I was thinking about it the other day. It'd be great.
That'd be awesome.
Love chickens.
Okay, so the fog made daily life almost impossible for the people of London. Bustles. Buses, flights, and train services were stopped, and people described not being able to see the hoods of their own cars while driving.
Crazy.
And some people just got out of their cars and just abandoned their cars and walked because they just couldn't see anything that was in front of them. Bike riders had to walk their bikes, and I read one account of a mum wearing high heels so that her kids could hear her footsteps. Another account I read said that my mother tells me of how she walked into a street lamp that was lit, but she just couldn't see it.
To me, that's just so
it's so
funny.
But this literally just blocked out any sunlight or any light.
It really shows how crazy it is.
I know, this is how thick it was. But criminals took advantage of this because pickpocketing and burglaries increased because the criminals could just take your stuff and just run into the fog, and there's nothing you could do because you couldn't see them.
Yeah, they could just step like 2 meters to your side and you're like, oh,
exactly.
Where'd they go?
Exactly. It's like having a blindfold on.
It'd be perfect time to take up a criminal career.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yep. Another woman remembers, I was 10 years old. Most people heated their homes with dirty coal and did not realise they were contributing to the deaths that resulted.
Jesus.
I remember walking to school with a woolen scarf wrapped tightly around my mouth and nose, feeling our way along the hedgerows, holding hands to not get lost. The black soot on the scarf when I took it off at school. Nationally, however, the newspapers in 1952 were all caught up with another killer that was also in London. And that was serial killer John Reginald Christie, which we now know as the Rillington Place Strangler, which is a whole other story that I'd like to say I'd go into in a future episode, but to be honest, he is so unpleasant.
No, let's do it.
Like, he's horrid. Like, remember when we did Mary Vincent, the way that you felt about her attacker?
Lawrence Singleton.
Like,
I want to strangle him myself.
This is how I feel about Reginald Christie. He's just so horrid. He's just
Did
awful.
he hurt animals?
Yeah.
Most likely.
He's just an awful person.
Yeah.
So there's an author named Kate Dawson who just a couple of years ago wrote a book about this time in London called Death in the Air, a true story of a serial killer, the Great London Smog, and the strangling of a city.
I actually love that name.
Isn't it awesome? Because
it's so eerie.
Yeah, and because people were being strangled not just by the smog, but by this serial killer as well.
It's crazy.
The 1952 London smog led to the passage of the Clean Air Act 1956, which banned the use of coal for domestic fires in some urban areas.
Good.
During the smog, 4,000 deaths were recorded, and a further 8,000 deaths followed as a result of the smog.
Just crazy.
Yeah. Undertakers began running out of coffins, and florists ran out of flowers because so many people were dying of bronchitis and pneumonia.
Have you had bronchitis?
Yeah, years ago.
It's pretty disgusting.
Yeah, it's just unrelenting.
Yeah.
The smog of 1952 was the 10th deadliest disaster in the UK, going by death toll. And there have been other smogs since, but nothing like this one. And actually, I've just got one more Arthur Conan Doyle quote before I finish off. "Stand at the window here. Was ever such a dreary, dismal, unprofitable world? See how the yellow fog swirls down the street and drifts across the dun-coloured houses."
Yuck.
So that is the story of the 1952 killer fog.
That was crazy. I actually had no idea.
Cheers, dude.
No idea this was a thing.
I'd always heard about it, but I didn't know it was poisonous. I always just thought it was a really thick fog that used to happen. Just, living in the UK as a kid, your parents and your grandparents and would say, in the 60s and the 50s, the snow was 7 feet deep in my day and things like that. And
okay, boomer.
Yeah, exactly. and the fog and blah, 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 blah. But yeah, and I always just kind of thought it was just one of those things that fog would come. Yeah. But I never actually knew
that's
that
called the
poison.
nighttime, Dad.
So yeah.
That was crazy.
Thank you. I'm glad that
That's spooky. I can't wait to see photos. We'll post photos all over Instagram.
Yeah, I've got a few. I'll send them to you.
Sick one. And we're live.
We're live.
Hi guys. All right. I've got a weird mix of tales for you today. I don't know where I found the inspiration for this next topic, but I hope you enjoy it.
I'm sure I will. You always do good stories.
Well, I hope so, girl. This one is about people dating ghosts. What?
Okay.
Yeah, it's a thing. It is a thing, unfortunately. But then again, I'm not kink shaming, so if that's your thing, then go right ahead.
We don't judge.
We don't judge. I am obsessed with Pennywise the Clown. Like I think he is the hottest. And I was like into him before the movie came out.
Right. You're an OG.
Not the OG Pennywise by Tim Curry. No, yeah. I when I heard Bill Skarsgård was playing him, I actually had a dream about it.
Okay.
And then I was like, oh, did I just have like this really beautiful dream about Bill Skarsgård with like a clown mask on his head. And then after the movie was released a year later, everyone's like, oh my God, Pennywise is so hot. I'm like, I thought of this first. I should be getting credit. So I'm the OG crusher of Pennywise.
You could be the only
No.
crusher of Pennywise.
There is like a worldwide Pennywise
Cult.
kink thing. Yep.
Wow.
Yep. So
Clown kink cult.
you guys know I've got IBS and I have a thing for a kid eating clown. So nothing's hidden anymore about my life.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, let's get on with spectrophilia.
Spectrofeelin, is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Sweet.
It also means you get aroused by looking at yourself in the mirror.
Is this a little bit inspired by last week's case of Patty Donovan, who said that she was dating the spirit in the Ouija board?
Oh,
Like she called him her boyfriend.
I was already writing it when you said that, and if you listen to that episode, I freak out because you say that she's, and I'm like, oh, it's gonna lead to my next thing. And
that's so cool, isn't it? That's so weird.
It's weird, yeah. Well, this tale is a bit weird. Multiple tales with
the
celebrities.
Spectrophilia. Sweet.
Yeah. Which translates to having a sexual attraction to ghosts or sexual arousal to images in mirrors. And I did a little question mark because, like,
any image?
Well, I guess it's yours if you're looking in a mirror.
Okay.
I don't know if it's if it's a reflection of like a bathroom or something. Then I'm guessing this is for people who like putting mirrors on their ceilings and stuff above their beds.
Yeah.
Potential.
Okay. Right. Rather than sort of like, just looking
going through
in
an
the
antique
mirror.
store and being like, oh, hello, I like this mirror. It's very curvy.
Yeah.
No, I think it's like
that cabinet that I can see in the mirror behind my shoulder.
Yeah, not like a public bathroom, one of those fogged out mirrors you get that are really just like stainless steel that's been buffed really well.
Yeah.
No, I think you have to see someone in the mirror.
Yes. Okay.
Yes. As well as having sexual encounters between ghosts and humans. That's spectrophilia.
Cool.
Okay. Fed up with mortal men? Well, have sex with a ghost.
Okay.
Or, just give dating a bit of a rest. Either one. As we draw closer to the end of a year, and the curtain between the mortal realm and the spirit world grows thinner, we shouldn't be too surprised to see an increase of reports of ladies having sexy times with ghosts! !
And men?
Yeah. Well, actually, according to the internet, it is quite hard to find queer relationships in spectrophilia.
Really?
Yes, legit. There are people that actually put out like wanted ads being like, I'm looking for a female ghost, I'm a female human. I hadn't found any gay relationships in spectrophilia. It's usually women having sex with male ghosts.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, it is. It is interesting. Like, I don't know. It's a bit weird to me. Sex with the paranormal has been a subject of fascination for centuries across many cultures, ranging from lore, such as the Japanese vampire Yuki Onna, who kills men after she sleeps with them, to a Grecian shapeshifter named Lamia, who lures and murders men, as well as the iconic Lilith, who I think we all know, who has sex with men in order to give birth to demons, which I think is pretty cool.
That's badass. Are you okay?
Yeah, my microphone's
attacking you.
Getting into the mode with my story. It's going up in other cases. This spooky fascination with sexy ghosts has unsurprisingly made its way to current times. There are many stories about people hooking up with ghosts, including Kesha, the celebrity.
I was hoping you would talk about Kesha.
Yeah, I've got a few celebrities that have hooked up with ghosts. It's really weird.
And I think Kesha is like pre-S. It's back when she had the $sign.
Yeah.
In her name.
Yeah, it's back when I think she was just like getting a groove on. Because she later you'll hear, but she describes where she living as a slop pad or something really.
Slop pad.
Wait, I'm gonna speed forward.
No, just take your time. We will get there.
Yeah, but I'll forget what type of house it's weird. It's like a flop pad or something. She
Flop house?
Flop house, potentially. I don't know. It's weird. We'll get there. Jason Hawes, founder of the Atlantic Paranormal Society and cast member of series Ghost Hunters, yikes, states, quote, through history, there have been people who claim to have consensual sexual intercourse with human spirits, as well as many that claim to have been forced into sexual intercourse by an entity. This is usually called spectrophilia. Creepy. Right. Now to the cases.
Okay.
These are the fun ones. Cool. Let's get buckled in, people. In 2017, a lady named Sean Jameson told The Sun that she had been sleeping with a handsome ghost in a Walsh cottage just after breaking up with her ex. This is her quote. During the lovemaking, I sensed all kinds of things about him. His name was Robert, and he lived over 100 years ago. His body was soft and light. Even when he moved on top of me, pressing down, he felt almost weightless. It was very strange, but the sex was amazing. Thanks, Sean. Next lady. This one's actually quite well known. Okay. This chick popped up everywhere and she's a bit annoying.
Right.
Her name was Amethyst Realm, which to me is like, of course it is.
Yeah, of course it is.
Yeah. Okay, Amethyst Realm appeared on a British TV show called This Morning, saying after having frequent sexual encounters with ghosts at her house, she hasn't slept with a living person since. Oh, good one, Amethyst. This lifestyle, or as I like to...
So does she just do the media sort of circuit now?
Yeah. She's just going around to like anyone who would have her. It's like those magazines you see in like your grandparents' house that have like quizzes and puzzles, and then it's like,
very
my dad was a serial killer.
Yeah.
My baby fell in the toilet. Like just crap like this. She just is like...
She's just doing that tabloid circuit.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So Amethyst is getting the rounds.
I'm gonna look her up on Instagram. Amethyst Realm.
I don't know if she'd have Instagram, but she's all over Google. A lot of the media photos I've seen.
Does she have tie-dye shirts with kind of like pentagrams on them?
Not pentagrams, but just like long tie-dye dresses. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm so gonna Google her really like as soon as we get
do
out
it,
of here.
Do it. She's good. She'll be on Instagram. She said, this lifestyle or death style, that was thrown in by me, not Amethyst, started 10 years ago. Amethyst quotes, this is a different voice for Amethyst. We had sex everywhere, but always within the building. I've got no interest in men now. She is now engaged to a ghost.
Right.
Yeah, so Amethyst has her priorities sorted. Celebrity cases. Here we go, girls. Buckle in.
Sweet.
Kesha's 2012 song Supernatural was written after she had a sexual encounter with a ghost after telling Ryan Seacrest on air. Mm-hmm. How does Kesha talk? Like that?
See, Kesha's gone through kind of like a metamorphosis, so she's like very sort of wisdom and earth now.
So she's just like Amethyst.
She might have been like Amethyst before.
Okay. I lived in this flop house. That's it. A flop house. Whatever that is. At Rural Canyon. And there was this weird energy that lived there. It used to keep me up at night and wake me up. It progressed into this dark sexual spirit. Mm-hmm. Yeah, she told that to Ryan Seacrest, and I could imagine him just being like, well, cool, that's great, Kesha.
And then what happened?
In 1999, Lucy Liu.
What? Lucy Liu?
Lucy Liu, hot Lucy Liu, Charlie's Angels Lucy Liu.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, girl. I was like, excuse me? She reported to Us Weekly that one day she was having a nap and woke up mid-climax from a ghost. Let that sink in. Sometimes I wonder, is it just a sex dream?
Yeah, exactly. It could just be a dream.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes, that's my theory. But, you know, there are people, let people dream. The movie Ghost, starring Patrick Swayze and Demi Moore, featured spectrophilia, as did the movie It Follows, which I think is quite recent. And in a PG version, so we kind of like dumbing it down for the kids, the movie Casper shows Christina Ricci kissing the ghost star.
And there's a scene in Ghostbusters where the ghost undoes Ray's pants.
Yes. I was actually going to put that in. I don't know why I didn't, because our whole show is based around Ghostbusters. I was like, yeah, I don't want to put that in, but now I'm like,
too obvious.
This is a friggin' theme. Anyway. Okay, this is another celebrity. Turns out there's quite a few. Paranormal 2 actress Natasha Blasick.
Paranormal 2, is that a film?
I'm guessing it was meant to be Paranormal Activity, but in the article it was just Paranormal 2.
Okay, let's presume it's Paranormal Activity 2.
Okay. Paranormal Activity 2 actress Natasha Blasick also shared her experience on the British talk show This Morning. Once again, it looks like all the spectrophilia fanatics go to This Morning.
Is not the place where you go for hard-hitting news. It's just not.
No, but unfortunately, I think a lot of people would listen to it and be like, wow, this is,
it must be
this
true.
is
I
legit.
saw it on TV. It must be true.
This is true. And this is a quote from Natasha. I could feel the weight of a body on top of me and I couldn't see anybody but I could feel the energy and I could feel the warmth. And at first I was very confused with all that. But then I just decided to relax and it was really, really pleasurable. They always end it weird. One woman, this is another case, she's not a celebrity. One woman claims, my new ghost lover is really special, wise, stable and kind. I'm not 100% sure if it's a male or a female, but I have found true love. We met when I went on a trip to Australia earlier this year. Spirits usually remain in one place, but I am delighted this one followed me back to the UK. I was happy and excited. So excited, in fact, we headed on to the plane and I am now a member of the Mile High Club! Exclamation mark.
So I would that fall under the umbrella pansexual?
Yes, I think so.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah. But I mean, this is the thing. You wouldn't have to sneak off to the toilet in the plane if you're having sex with a ghost. You could literally do it in the seat.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I guess so.
I mean...
yeah, but she didn't actually say it was in the toilet.
Yeah, true.
I don't think it has to be in the toilet to be in the Mile High Club.
Well, for humans it does.
Yeah, but...
unless it's like really empty in the back of the jet and it's like 3 a.m. or something.
Yeah.
I've heard stories of people doing that.
Really?
Yeah, like... you know when you like book out whole seats or like you get moved to the back if it's like a dead plane? And there's just... and at night no one like really walks around.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not talking from experience. And that is a fact. Oh, this is a further quote from our mystery woman. I know it sounds crazy, but I've been looking into having a ghost baby, and I don't think it's totally out of the question. I believe phantom pregnancies, where a woman experiences pregnancy symptoms when there is no fetus, is actually a ghost baby.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
But doesn't that mean that it would never actually eventuate into a baby? It's a phantom pregnancy.
Well, that's what
it
phantom
goes
pregnancy
away.
is. Yeah.
There is no birth.
Yeah, sometimes it's gas, sometimes it's like
a tumor.
Like mental illness. Like it's not a ghost baby. It's not a ghost baby.
I don't subscribe to that theory.
No. Check, please.
Unfriend.
She continues, I was getting undressed for bed when I suddenly felt fingers fluttering their way down my spine and a soft whispering sound, but no words from behind in my right ear. It made me shudder all over, but in a really nice way. See, I just think that could just be gas. I think she's taking everything a bit too literally.
If there was a whispering sound in your ear, would that just make your hearing aid go?
Yeah, it would make it kind of a bit robotic. Like, a lot of the time it just translates their words into like this kind of like static robotic voice. So if a ghost was trying to like hit on me, I'd be like, Jesus, is this the voice of God? I wouldn't be like, hello, sexy ghost.
No.
Yeah. One woman was quoted as saying in regard to telling her friend, okay, I love this, telling her friends about her love affairs with goats. With ghosts, she says, when I told a couple of close friends about it, they looked at me as if I was mad, so I just laughed it off, said something about eating too much cheese, then kept quiet afterwards. I love that so much.
It's so random.
So guys, I think I had sex with a ghost last night. Esther, are you okay? Don't worry, I just ate so much cheese.
Oh, I get it. I get that all the time.
What a segue.
Yeah.
Like,
Eating too much cheese.
two very different things. I mean, I don't know how this lady's eating her cheese, but I mean,
come and hang out with us.
Yeah, I'd be like, okay, hon, I'm going to provide you a cheese platter and I want to see how you eat it, at least like which end you're eating it from. I mean, I don't know. So guys, I mean, spectrophilia is both easy to dismiss and hard to prove, but one benefit of ghost sex is at least you can't catch STDs. Or can you get phantom STDs? That's a question.
We're going to have to
ask
look
some
into
ghosts.
that.
That's another question for a ghost. Ghost rules.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's because if you can get a phantom pregnancy, you'd think you might be able to get a phantom wart.
Oh, yikes. Well, that's my spectrophilia. I think you have some questions for me because I'm now a professor of spectrophilia.
Professor Esther.
Mm-hmm.
So is there a possibility that any of these spectres could be the infamous incubus or succubus?
Oh, yes. Yes. I was actually going to bring up incubus and succubus, which I only just found out that I think the incubus is the male and the succubus is the female equivalent. Yeah. A lot of the time, it's also comes under sleep paralysis. I do believe that a lot of the cases where like I mentioned earlier, that there's forced sexual intercourse, that would probably most likely fall under sleep paralysis, as well as potentially the incubus and succubus.
Okay.
But I mean, there's that, you hear about those horrifying stories of people that were assaulted.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think
these are more consensual.
These are more just like ladies just who are going through something in their life and they've just gotten out of like a lot of them have just broken up from their partners.
So they're really kind of
and then they find ghosts. Like majority have just split up with their fiancés and their husbands.
Some people get a haircut.
Some people, get a tattoo. Others get engaged to ghosts. I mean, look, the world is overpopulated. If you want to get into a relationship with a ghost and have no kids, awesome.
Be my guest.
Do it. You'll save a lot of money on food.
True.
And gas and stuff. So go for it.
Yeah.
It's great. But do you have any more questions for me?
No, but I did meet a man who believed that he was attacked by a succubus.
I've met... We actually have a mutual friend, and I'm not going to name her on air, but she told me that she had lots of instances of having sexual encounters with a ghost in her house.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Wow.
So maybe we'll get her in. We can like make her voice really deep.
Yeah, we can get one of those like voice changing things like they have on Current Affair.
Yeah, she could sound like a criminal. Hello, I had sex. No.
I know it sounds like kind of like
it's
two
horrible.
voices on top of each other.
It's so unflattering. I'd rather
weird,
people just hear my horrible voice as it is without like being nasally and like this horrible deep. You can still kind of tell, like, you know how you're close to someone and you can like hear the lilts in their voice and stuff.
The inflections.
Yeah, Like, if I made your voice quite deep, I reckon I'd be like, yeah, that's how Gemma reads.
Yeah. Yeah. there's no getting away
so
from it.
you're the one who pooed on the bonnet of my car. I know that voice.
You're the one who said that they were going to build me a pergola and then did a runner.
Pergola. Okay, guys. Well, that's our stories.
Yeah, I was going to contribute something else to that story, but I completely forgot what it was. Oh yeah, that's what I was going to say. So, like, people who come forward with these, like, crazy stories of, like, I'm dating a ghost, I'm really happy now, blah, 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 blah. Like, I don't feel as if it's the type of thing that people would come out with for attention, because what the hell are they getting out of it?
Oh, total attention. 100% attention.
Crap attention.
She got Amethyst got an interview on a TV show.
But
it doesn't matter now. Like, we're in Australia, we're on the peninsula talking about Amethyst Realm.
Well, that's true.
That's attention.
Okay, yeah,
like,
that's true.
There's some did you hear about the chick I think it was last year, she got married to a ghost pirate?
Yeah, I think.
Yeah,
and
like,
didn't they get a divorce?
Yeah, they got divorced, but that stuff floats around all the time, and, like, that is permanently on the internet. She's probably at home in her unit being like, yes, 2018 was such a good year for me. I was in the local newspaper. I got interviewed on my local radio station.
That's presuming that she made it up. But I suppose if it was real and she's just kind of, like, spreading awareness, you too can date a ghost. It's okay.
There are actual websites online where it's like how to summon a ghost so you can get in a relationship with it.
That's a dangerous practice.
Oh, 100%. I was reading an article, and this woman that actually wrote the article, she had to enter her email address and her name, and then she's like, oh God, it's leading me to some dark web site,
yes.
you know, and she's like, you know, if I have to pay for it, I'm not going to go through, but it was free. And it was literally like 7 steps to summoning a spirit that you can have a relationship with. And there was some guy, like, that had written out a full-length 7-step guide.
Like a spell?
No, I think it was like a what is it? Magic. It's like this. Oh, Jesus.
I don't know what you're on about.
No, but there's rituals that you can do to bring things into your life. Not so much like a Ouija board, but like you can
So it is like a spell.
Not so much a spell. It's God damn, that'll be housekeeping for next week.
Okay, so a series of things that you can do.
Yeah, like ritualistic things to get yourself a ghosty girlfriend.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Routine magic, I think. I can't remember. We'll get back to that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for that.
Is that your question? I can't even remember your question.
Well, I just was kind of... It wasn't really a question. It was kind of like, you know, are these people trying to look for attention?
Oh, yeah, totally.
By going on trashy TV
yes.
and trashy newspapers? Or are they just literally, honestly trying to spread awareness about this lifestyle choice?
Well, look, I don't know. I know that if I was in a relationship with a ghost, I probably wouldn't preach it to the world. I'd keep it quite private.
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't contact the morning show, you know, go have Carrie Ann Kennedy or whatever her face and lecture me on TV about my choices.
Yeah. Anyway. Something to think about. I'm going to be on that Google tonight. You're
going to find some weird stuff. You actually have to Google sex and relationships with ghosts, because if you just write ghosting in relationships, you're just going to get my boyfriend ghosted me on text message, and he's seen my message but hasn't replied. That was me for hours. I'm like, this doesn't sound spooky.
Yes, there's a difference between having a relationship with a ghost and getting ghosted in a relationship.
Yes. Imagine being ghosted by a ghost.
Well, we talked about that last week. That's what happened with Patty's ghost.
Yeah,
she
with
got
crying
ghosted.
Brian.
With crying Brian.
Yeah, lol. So guys, thanks for listening in. Please subscribe to iTunes and give us a rating. Like, I'm just copying what other podcasts say. because we can't actually at the moment. Gemma and I can't see the views on on iTunes, but it's nice to like open up our phone and be like, oh my god, someone's left a really cute review.
Yeah. Awesome.
So, yeah, that
and
would be
also
great.
we would love to read out any listeners' ghost experiences or conspiracy theories.
Any if your dad's a serial killer, if
we
you
want to know about it.
Anything, if you're having sex with a ghost, if you've got a haunted toaster,
if you found a horse's head on the beach,
that is my family story.
I know.
So I could just write in.
Yeah, true.
If you have Furbies at home,
if they're haunted Furbies,
yeah, if Ivan Milat's your grandpa.
I was going to say, if your name's Milat.
Yeah. Anything. Because we want to do an episode where we just read your stories out.
Yeah.
It can be
so
anonymous.
cool.
You can give your name. Just do us a favor and write us.
Yeah.
Majority of you have us on social media, so just
send
us a message, guys.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, Esther.
Thanks, Gemma. Thanks, Chris, producer.
She looks after
Thanks,
us.
RPP FM.
All right, we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh my god, the building's gonna break down.
Don't worry.
It's the ghost. It's a sexy ghost.